Can you show me any prehistoric uh, manuscript which says that Abraham and Ishmael built the Kaaba or anything like that, apart from Quran and Hadith? And even in the Hadith, like once I quote Fidal Quran, you'll see what I'm talking about. Let me ask you: you believed in the Quran despite all these facts, right? And the same people, Bart Ehrman, you're appealing to, the same person says that Jesus was crucified and Islam is a false religion and it's also a demon-possessed religion. The same person says that. The person you're using in order to defend Islam is the person who is against Islam, who proves his argument against Islam too, because he's an agnostic, right? At the start of the debate, I said that what the agnostics do and the atheists do is
Okay, I
that
think
they
that's
deny
time.
church
That is
history.
time. That is time. Okay.
Yeah.
So, one of the things I'll just issue, kind of a warning to you, Atman, to please stay on topic. It seems like when you get stuck, you go to Islam. But I need you to really, debate and defend the New Testament, regardless of whatever Islam teaches or not. You gotta focus on this book. And it seems like when you get in trouble, you start talking about jihad or whatever these other issues are. Okay, so let's get back to the topic. I'm going to take my 2 minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna ignore pretty much everything you said because it's just not on topic. It's not my job here tonight to prove Islam. Yeah, definitely I'll do that in another debate, but that's not what we have kind of gathered here for. We need to talk about the reliability of the New Testament. So all you're doing, as Dr. Richard Carrier is pointing out, you're just following the kooks and quacks of the Roman Empire. And he mentioned everybody used to make these claims about apostolic authority. I got this from the disciple of Jesus. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I got it from John. These claims are a dime a dozen. Okay, so let's take a look at some more evidence here. And you never showed us. You quoted Polycarp. Okay, well, I'm showing you that other people made the same claims Polycarp made from the other churches. In fact, who didn't make these claims? I guess it should be
Yeah.
asking. Okay,
And a
so
lot
now
of people wrote their own
let me
manuscripts
show
of the
you
Quran as
other
well.
testimony.
Does
Please
that mean
stop.
the Quran is false?
Stop
No, right?
interrupting. Please stop interrupting. Okay.
No, the thing is,
Yeah,
sorry
hold
to
on.
cut you off, but the thing
You,
is that
you
if
don't
you
know your
have a
church history.
criteria, if you
Okay,
question
you're
Christianity with
interrupting.
a criteria,
You
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 should
will
be
have
able to. We should question you with the same criteria, right?
that's fine. You can do that, but just not right now. Okay. Let me take my
Why?
I'm gonna take my 2 minutes, okay? Because
Who's
we've got
running
to
now?
focus. Okay. I am running away right now because I want to stay focused on the New Testament. That's why. Now, if you feel like I'm not being fair with it or holding a double standard against the Quran, sure, we can debate that when the time comes. But we can't debate both at the same time. So yes, I am running away from the Islamic issues you're raising. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to start taking my 2 minutes again. So problem is, Ahmed, you don't know church history, and I want to educate you on that. So if you're just going to, as Dr. Richard Carrier said, just blindly follow the kooks and quacks of the Roman Empire, who there was no end to the fools and loons who would follow them. As he said in that article, you should read that article. Okay, that's a problem. You are just reading one side of, I guess, some Christian propaganda. But let me educate you on church history. Now, this is from Celsus, okay, and he was right around that time. Listen to what he said about the Christians. It is clear to me that the writings of the Christians are a lie, and your fables, and that your fables are not well enough constructed to conceal this monstrous fiction. I have heard that some of your interpreters are on to the inconsistencies, and he goes on talking about how the church is just basically making up stuff. Not only that, but even your own church caught people fabricating and lying. And they asked him, well, why did you do this? He said, I did it for the love of Paul. Let me get that reference for you real quick. Love. Love of Paul. They caught him. They basically, the Christian forger who had been convicted by a church tribunal, and he was fabricating letters of Paul. He says, why did you do it? For the love of Paul. I mean, here's my point. But see, the thing is, okay, certain church fathers made claims that they had apostolic authority. All right, fine. I mean, but what do you do with all the evidences from other churches who made the same claim? Okay. Not only that, but now you've got other testimony from Celsus and others who say that your church is fabricating and lying. The Ebionites says Paul is a false prophet. What do you do with all that other testimony? I guess is my question for you.
Well, the honest question is that you compare the testimony You watch their history, and then you realize who is telling the truth and who is false, just like how the early church fathers did, right? Now, again, you brought up testimonies and you asked a very good question. How can we assume that a testimony is true and a testimony is false? And I told you in a really simple and concise manner that you go into the history, you look into the history of Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John, you see, were they really with Jesus? And then you look at the the apostolic fathers like Ignatius and Polycarp, and you look at their history. Were they really with John? If
Hmm.
yes, then they're telling the truth. If no, they're lying, right?
Right.
So that's the first part of my answer. And the second part is basically a question, because if you raise the concern of these false testimonies, along with some of the true ones of the church fathers, when you raise this concern of the false testimonies, I myself raised the concerns of those false manuscripts which Uthman had to burn. And Musallima bin Kazab, don't forget about him. Yeah, we had many false prophets at the time of Muhammad as well, many manuscripts that had to be burned. How do we know that the manuscript today we have, the Quran, is true, right? But you believe in the Quran, despite all that, despite Musallima bin Kazab, despite Uthman burning dozens of manuscripts, despite the goat eating one of the revelation of the Quran, you believe in the Quran, right? So the same criteria which you're using against Christianity, Islam doesn't stand that same criteria which you're using to disprove Christianity. That's what I'm trying to say. That's why I bring up Islam in the first place. That if you're using a criteria, you're using an argument, use an argument that
Okay.
is
Okay.
not
It's my
self-destructive to
time.
Islam.
Okay,
Yeah,
no, there's
go
no
ahead.
such thing. This is all just one big delusion you're suffering from.
Oh my
You
God.
think that Islam has the same problem. I accept the challenge of the authenticity of the Quran, and we will debate that when the time comes. And I will prove to you,
Okay,
Quran is
let's go.
100% authentic. I'll prove to you
Should
that
I
this is a
should I
scientific
quote
miracle.
Abu Bakr Kitab Fidal
No, no, no,
Quran?
no. This is
I have
my
it right
time.
here.
This is my time. Okay.
Okay,
Okay. So the problem is, the issue is not that I'm holding a double standard. The issue here is you get stuck. And when you get stuck, Ahmed, I'm just explaining to you so you can improve your debate skills. Okay. You start talking about Islam, start talking about jihad, you start talking
I
about
told you why.
Uthman, you start talking about these because you are fried. You know you cannot, you're saying stupid stuff. Well, you got to compare their history and testimony. Then you will know that they are truly disciples of John. Nobody is that stupid to say stuff like
I
that. Okay.
already
There's
gave
no
you my
way.
answer. Look into the
There's
history
no, okay. Stop
of the
interrupting,
fathers
Ahmed. This is my
and the
time.
disciples.
This is my time, Ahmed. Okay. I'm going to add just 10 more seconds to my time because you are interrupting me.
Mhm.
Ahmed, listen. Nobody is so stupid as to say that you can really prove these things 2,000 years later. You cannot prove these things. It is exactly what Dr. Richard Carrier is saying. You're just blindly following the kooks and quacks of your demon possessed prophet, Paul. That's all you're doing. You're just basically following the attestations and affirmations and faith proclamations of the kooks and quacks of the Roman Empire. No, you cannot compare their history and testimony, and then you're going to know, oh, he's really a true follower of John. There's no way. You're talking bakwas. This is when I said this was bakwas. This is exactly it. You're saying things that even the Christians will never say, saying things so absurd and nonsensical up here tonight. Okay, but if you want
I
to,
can say the same
if you
about you.
want to, if you think you can prove that Polycarp was truly a disciple of John, let's just assume it. Okay, show it. Show me how you can prove that. Okay, no Christian would ever say something so stupid like that, but you think you can? Okay, go ahead, show it to me.
Let me play your game for a while. Show me that Uthman is the caliph and he met Muhammad. Show me. Again, not even that. Okay, show me who wrote Surah Al-Baqarah. Show me the author of Surah Al-Baqarah. The reason why I'm bringing up Islam is because the same questions you're bringing up for Christianity, despite my answers, you won't survive that questions. You won't survive your own questions as a Muslim. Tell me who wrote Surah Al-Baqarah or Surah Al-Ikhlas or Surah Al-Ma'idah or Surah Al-Ankabut or Surah Al-Shura or Surah Al-Rahman. Tell me who wrote them. No, you were questioning me for hours upon hours. Tell me how these church fathers are true, and tell me how these disciples are true, and you're not following Paul. How do you know you're not following Uthman? Hmm? I can ask the same question. The thing is, I give you the answers, but you do not adhere to them. You should know about this. I'm giving you the answers. You're not adhering to them. You went on to Hitler and the genocide or whatever. You went there. You didn't answer my full question. Now let me ask these same questions to you. Tell me who wrote Surah Al-Ma'idah or Baqarah or Surah Al-Shura or Surah Al-Azab or Surah Al-Anbiya or Surah Al-Imran, Surah Al-Awqaf, Surah Al-Ankabut. Show me. Give me the evidence who wrote the Quran. Which men wrote the Quran? You don't have an answer, do you? Yeah, you can go on tangents, you can preach again, 2 hour long debate. Look at that. I'm still live. Oh my God. But you don't have the answer. Who were the true followers of Jesus, which Surah Saf ayah 14 is quoting? Who were they? What were their names? What is the original Injil, which we don't have, which the Quran is quoting? You don't have the original Injil. You don't know the true followers of Christ. The Quran is really vague about them. I know it. Who wrote Surah Al-Ma'idah, Surah Al-Anbiya, Surah Al-Ikhlas, Surah Al-Baqarah? You don't know. Let me ask you the same questions. I'm asking you the same questions and you don't have the answer. So when you attack Christianity with certain questions,
Okay, that's time. That's time.
keep in
Okay,
mind that your own
thanks.
religion won't understand them.
Okay, so let me start my time. Look, I've already explained to you. I accept your challenge on everything you've said. Show me who wrote Surah Ikhlas. Show me who authored all of this. Yes, I will accept the challenge on debating the validity of the Quran, but this is not the debate for that. You see, Ahmed, what you're not understanding is when you get stuck and you know you cannot answer the challenge, like you're going to really prove Polycarp was a disciple of Jesus. I'm sorry, disciple of Paul. You know that's
I
you
don't
can't
need
prove
to
that.
answer the
Hold on a
challenge. You
second.
can go look into the church history
Hold on
and
a
you'll
second.
know.
Stop. No interrupting. When you know you can't produce, you can't prove this stuff, then you start talking about the Quran and you start talking about Islam. Why? Because you're stuck and you know that the arguments that was raised against you regarding the New Testament are valid. But you're like, okay, so what? But what about Islam? Islam has the same problem. No, it doesn't. I will lead the debate
Oh,
on those
really?
topics, and I will prove to you
Oh,
today that.
really?
Hold on, stop interrupting, please, Ahmed. I will answer all your
Sorry.
challenges. Okay, but this is not the debate for that. So I want the. So you talked about church history. That's fine. I've basically answered you on that. It's all a scam, as Dr. Richard Carrier pointed out. You're just following the attestations and affirmations and faith proclamations of the kooks and quacks of the Roman Empire. Christianity is nothing more than that, as Dr. Richard Carrier